Alright, so this video is going to go over test 4.1 review. Your test is tomorrow and it is over polynomials, so adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and classifying. So this first section says divide by factoring. So when I'm factoring, I know that I want to check first if there's a GCF or a number that I can divide the whole thing by before I start factoring. And I can divide 4, negative 12, and 8 by 4. So first I'm going to take out that 4. You get n squared minus 3n plus 2. And then I want to factor n squared minus 3n plus 2 by finding two numbers that will multiply to 2 but add to negative 3, which would be n minus 2 and n minus 1. And that is being divided by n minus 1. So we can write divided by as a fraction. So we would say all of that over n minus 1. And whatever I see on top and bottom will cancel. And my answer is whatever's left. So 4 times n minus 2. We are only going to be doing the odd numbers, so that way you have the evens to do as review. So for the next section, it says divide by long division. So when we have long division, the first thing we want to do is check, are all my powers there? So 4, 3, then 2, then a power of 1, and then a constant, which is a power of 0. So they're all there. So I'm going to rewrite this. And we're dividing by v minus 2. So remember, when we divide with long division, we focus on the variable. To get v to look like 4v to the 4th power, I would have to multiply by 4v cubed. And 4v cubed times negative 2 is a negative 8v cubed. We are subtracting that entire thing, so all the signs on the bottom will change. These two will cancel, and that's what we want. And we have negative 9v cubed plus 8v cubed is negative 1v cubed. Bring down the next term. So in order to get a v to look like negative v cubed, we would have to multiply by a negative v squared. Negative v squared times negative 2 is a positive 2v squared. We're subtracting that entire thing, so both of their signs will change. These two will cancel. Negative 6v squared minus 2v squared is a negative 8v squared. Bring down the next term. Now we want v to look like negative 8v squared, which we would need to multiply by a negative 8v. Negative 8v times negative 2 is a positive 16v. Subtract that whole thing, so change both signs. Cancel. 7v minus 16v is a negative 9v. Bring down the next term. To get v to look like negative 9v, we would have to multiply by a negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 2 is positive 18. Change both of their signs. Cancel. 15 minus 18 is negative 3. That's my remainder since I have nothing left that I can drop. So my answer is 4v cubed minus 8v squared minus 8v minus 9 with a remainder of negative 3. Now number 5, we're going to do the same thing. So we are using long division. Check that all my powers are here. We start with a 3, then a power of 2, then a power of 1, and a constant. Write that underneath, and then divided by v minus 1. We're focusing on the v. 2v cubed divided by v, or v into 2v cubed, I'd have to multiply by 2v squared. Oops. 2v cubed because we're multiplying it back out. 2v squared times negative 1 is negative 2v squared. Change both of those signs. The first two terms will cancel. 4v squared plus 6v squared. I'm sorry, 4v squared plus 2v squared is 6v squared. Drop the next term. To get from v to 6v squared, I would have to multiply by a 6v. 6v times negative 1 is negative 6v. Change both of those signs. First two will cancel. 2v plus 6v is 8v. Drop the next term. To get from v to 8v, we would need to multiply by an 8. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. Change both those signs. We have the first terms to cancel, and then negative 6 plus 8 is a positive 2. I have nothing left to bring down, so this is my remainder. So my answer is 2v squared plus 6v plus 8 with a remainder of 2. The next section is dividing using synthetic division. So we need to make sure again that all of our powers are here. We have squared as our first, then a power of 1, then a constant, so they're all there. So 10, 70, negative 74 are my coefficients. And then n plus 8 means n equals negative 8. So remember, we take the opposite sign if it is a variable just with a number, so there's no like 2n plus blah blah blah. It's just n plus. Then we would say n equals negative 8. Drop the first. Multiply the two outside numbers, so negative 8 times 10 is negative 80. 70 minus 80 is negative 10. Negative 10 times negative 8 is positive 80. Negative 74 plus 80 is 6. And then when we have synthetic division, this is my remainder. And my answer, we drop 1 power. So that's my n, and that's my constant. So my answer is 10n minus 10 with a remainder of 6. Remember, with synthetic division, we write our remainders over what we were dividing by. I'll do another one. So we have 6x cubed plus 6x squared minus 21x minus 16. All my powers are there. We started with a 3, counted down. 3, 2, 1, constant. X plus 2 means x equals negative 2. If you need to see that worked out, then you would say x plus 2 equals 0. And then you solve for x. And x equals negative 2. So we would write our constants, our coefficients. We have 6, 6, negative 21, and negative 16. And then negative 2 goes on the outside. That's what we're dividing by. Bring down the 6. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. Negative 2 times negative 6 is a positive 12. Negative 21 plus 12 is negative 9. Negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. And negative 16 plus 18 is 2. So when I write my answer, I'm going to drop 1 degree. So since it started with an x cubed, this will be x squared, x, and then my constant. So 6x squared minus 6x minus 9 plus my remainder over what I divided by. Number 10 ended up below number 9 just because of spacing, so that one is for you all to do. The next section says to evaluate each function at the given value. So we are evaluating. I don't know. Which means we're going to be using synthetic substitution. When we use synthetic substitution, we take this value as is, so don't change that one. And then we are going to check from here to here, make sure that we have all of our exponents. We start with a 4, then a 3, then a 2, then a 1, then a constant. So they're all there. We're going to take out their coefficients. We have a 1, 2, negative 12, 10, and negative 5. And we're dividing by 2. Bring down the first term, multiply the outsides. 2 times 1 is positive 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 2, negative 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 times 2 is positive 4. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. With synthetic substitution, that is my answer. So f of 2 is negative 1. Then on the next section, we are finding the product, which means we're multiplying. So we're going to take this first term, multiply it by both of the terms in the second set of parentheses. Negative 5x times 8x is negative 40x squared. Negative 5x times negative 6 is a positive 30x. 6 times 8x is a positive 48x. And 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. We'll combine like terms if we can, and I see these middle terms can combine. So negative 40x squared. 30 plus 48 is 78. So 78 x's, and then minus 36 stays the same. Now in 15, we have 2 terms times 3 terms. So I'm going to circle this one that I'm using first. Negative 4x times negative 3x squared. Negative times negative gives me a positive 12. X times x squared is x cubed. Negative 4x times 6x is negative 24 x squared. And negative 4x times 2 is negative 8x. Negative 7 times negative 3x is a positive 21x squared. Negative 7 times 6x is negative 42x. And negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. So now we're going to combine any like terms that we can. The highest exponent I see is 3, and it is the only one, so it's going to stay the same. Next ones are the squares, and I have 2 of them. I have negative 24 and 21. So negative 24 plus 21 is negative 3. So I have negative 3x squared. Then my x's, negative 8x minus 42x is negative 50x. And my constant is last, and it's the only one, negative 14. Then on number 17, we've got 3 terms by 3 terms. So we're going to take this first term and multiply by all 3. So negative 7n squared times 3n squared, negative 21. Add those powers together, n to the 4th. Then negative 7n squared times negative 4n gives me a positive 28. N to the 3rd, we have their powers. Negative 7n squared times negative 8, positive 56n squared. Oops, let's go with blue next. Then we have a positive 6n by each term. 6n times 3n squared is a positive 18n cubed, We add their powers. 6n times negative 4n, negative 24n squared. 6n times negative 8 is negative 48n. And lastly, we'll take this negative 6 to all 3 terms. Negative 6 times 3n squared is negative 18n squared. Negative 6 times negative 4n, positive 24n. And negative 6 times negative 8 is positive 48. I'm sorry. So now I'm going to combine any like terms that I have. The highest degree that I see is a 4, and it's the only one. So 21 n to the 4th. Then the cubes would be next. I have 28 of them, and then plus 18. So 28 plus 18 is 46. Next we would have our squares. We have 3 different terms that have squares in them. So we have 56 minus 24 minus 18. So make sure that we're using all 3 of them. And that leaves me with 14. So positive 14 n squared. Then our n's, we have negative 48n plus 24n, which would be negative negative 24n. And lastly, we have the constant, which is 48. So everything is combined. That's my final answer. In the next section, we have adding and subtracting. So we're going to simplify each expression. Whenever there's a minus in between, I know I have to change all of these signs. We'll drop the parentheses as we go. Change all their signs. And then we'll simplify by combining like terms and putting it in standard form. So the highest degree that I see is a 4. -3 and -4, so -7x to the 4th. Then it would be cubes. That is the only one. Squares, we don't have any. X's, 7x minus 6x is 1x. And then constant, it's all by itself, it's the only one. So all simplified, this is our final answer. '21 we'll do with addition. So we just drop the parentheses and combine like terms. So don't change any of the signs when it is addition. Combine like terms, we want the highest degree first. 8 plus 1 is 9 of those, so we have 9x to the 4th. Then we would look for a cube. We don't have any. Move to the next one is a square. We got this guy here. So plus 3x squared. Then x's, we have 2x minus 8x, negative 6x. And then lastly, that constant that's all by itself, which is plus 6. '23, we have a minus sign. So we're changing all these signs. There's 6b plus b to the 4th plus 3b squared minus 2b squared minus 5b cubed plus 7b to the 4th. So we change the signs on the second set of parentheses, but not in the first. And then we will combine like terms, taking my highest degree first, which looks like it's this b to the 4th power. 1b to the 4th plus 7b's to the 4th leaves me with 8 of them. So 8b to the 4th. Then we would look for a cube. I see this one. It looks like it's the only one, so we'll take it as it is. Squares. We have 3 of them minus 2 of them, leaves me with 1. And then lastly, we have the b by itself. And it stays the same since we don't have any more plain b's. So this last section, this is one of the last topics that we covered, and it is classifying polynomials. So we're going to classify and describe the end behavior. So we classify based on degree and number of terms. And we describe the end behavior by whether the degree is even or odd, and the lead coefficient, whether it's positive or negative. So on 25, we have x cubed minus 2x squared plus 4. So my degree is 3. It is the highest exponent I see, so I'm going to write the degree is 3. Number of terms. Is 3. I have 1, 2, 3 terms. And then the last bit of information left to classify and describe is the lead coefficient, which would be the very first number you see when the problem starts, which is a 1. So just be careful with those 1s in the front. So from just those 3 things, I can classify it. The degree is 3, so it is a cubic, 3 terms, trinomial, and the degree is odd, so they'll be opposites. And the lead coefficient is positive, so the last one will be up. So it starts down and ends up. And arrows that will be down, then up. So then on number 27, on 27, we're going to do the same thing. So we need the degree, the number of terms, then the lead coefficient. So the degree we get from the exponent, which is right here. So the degree is 3. Number of terms is 3. And the lead coefficient, again, is a 1. So from that we get that it is a cubic trinomial. And it is odd and positive, so it will start down and end up. So that is it for the review. Make sure you do the other half, turn it in on Canvas, and then study up for your test tomorrow.